Geography intro. This video is an introduction to the world geography course that you'll be studying this year. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll define the discipline of geography. What exactly is geography? Geography comes from the word, it comes from Greek. It has Greek origins, and what that means is that it basically comes from the Greek. So let's break down what the word means. The word geo, which means earth, and graphin also means to describe or to write. So literally, and that's what these pictures represent. This first picture, of course, is of the earth, and the second illustration is of someone writing. So literally, the word geography means earth writing, to describe or write about the surface of the earth. Also, different concepts. Geography covers different concepts. One of them is being illustrated by this graphic here. And what you see in this graphic is a mountain. And what the arrow is doing is showing the distance and space between different mountains. So the two different mountains, between the larger and the smaller mountain. So how does that tie into geography? Well, geography is also the study of the spatial arrangement and the association among elements and or elements that have contact with each other on the Earth's surface. So for example, also what geographers study is the Earth's surface, objects like these mountains on the Earth's surface. How are they related to one another spatially? How far apart are they from one another? How tall is one in relation to the other? These are all types of things that we study in geography. What I really want you guys to understand or walk away from this course with is being able to take a look at the big picture. And that is what geography is all about. Being able to take a wide lens view to not only to a world, not only to your neighborhood or to your region, but to the world, looking at things in the big picture. And what this graphic illustrates, the reason why I included this is because it encompasses the main concepts, or three of the main big concepts that we look at in geography. We look at social structures, which deal with human characteristics. We look at the physical characteristics, which are the environment. And we also look at the economic characteristics, which are oftentimes a result of the mixture between the social characteristics of a place, the human characteristics of a place, and the physical characteristics. We'll get into this in a second. But the main thing I just want you to take away from this class is, of course, as I mentioned in class before, is to have a good, strong work ethic, to be accountable. Also, though, to take a look at, when you look at a map, to look at things from a big picture perspective. There are three big defining questions that we will focus on in geography. At the end of the day, it's all about, number one, where are things located? Number two, why are things located where they are? And number three, how has the environment affected what is located somewhere? And how has what is located someplace impacted the environment? And you see this correlates here. Where are things located? Why are things located where they are? And how has the environment impacted it? Or how has whatever is located in an area impacted the environment? Let's just give you a real quick example with the state of Louisiana. Where are things located? For example, let's use the state of Louisiana, the greater New Orleans area, which is highlighted by this circle in particular. So where is it located? Well, we know the city of New Orleans is located in the southeastern part of the state of Louisiana, which is located in the southeastern part of the United States. Why was the city of New Orleans located here? A couple of reasons. One, the main primary reason, though, is during the time when this country was founded, also when the city was founded, waterways were the most efficient ways of transportation, and New Orleans sits at the port of one of the primary waterways in the country, which is the Mississippi River. That deals with the why. And how has the environment affected the city of New Orleans, or how has New Orleans affected the environment? A couple of ways. The economy of that area revolves around seafood and trade. Also, the people of New Orleans, or the government of the United States, has actually changed the flow of the Mississippi River in order to make it more predictable for commerce and the economy. So once again, and I'll show you this example again. We'll go over that example again using this picture. So example of where, why, and how using New Orleans. This is where New Orleans is located, right here, in the state of Louisiana, the southeastern part of the state of Louisiana, where the arrow is pointing. Where? The southeastern part of the United States. We'll talk about how is our weather here, or what is it like? What is it physically like to live in the southeastern part of the United States in the New Orleans region? Well, we live along the Gulf Coast, and we'll talk about climate zones in a couple of days. But we live in a subtropical climate zone, which means it's very, very hot, very humid. Another physical characteristic of this area is that we have swamps and hurricanes. So that talks about the where and some of the characteristics of that we experience it from being located. Why? The why of why is New Orleans located there? Why was New Orleans located here? Deals with this arrow and the Mississippi River. As I mentioned earlier, the mouth of the Mississippi River is a major source of transportation. It was a major source of transportation 300 years ago, 350 years ago, when the city was founded, or when this country, during the early explorers, when this country, and it still remains a major source of trade and commerce in this country today. And how? The last question. How has New Orleans affected the environment, and how has the environment affected New Orleans? Well, the economy of New Orleans and South Louisiana as a whole developed around fishing and commerce. And we as the people, or we as the government, once again, of the United States, has changed the actual flowing of the mouth of the Mississippi River so it empties out in a different location in order for it to empty out more consistently and would make it easier for boats to travel in and out for commerce. So going to the geographic perspective, one of the big things we try to figure out is I want you guys to be able to understand the ways in which people perceive and interact with the Earth's surface, its resources, and its people. Geography is a really cool social studies because it lies at the intersection between both social and physical sciences. So what that means is that we study facts like weather patterns, borders, physical features, physical structures, but we also study human characteristics like culture, things that are not as tangible, things that are harder to put your hands on. And so, for example, these two maps I'll show you will be a pretty good illustration of what it is that we study in geography, or how geography studies both physical and human characteristics. So the first map is a map of the climate trends of the United States. What that means is it charts the physical trends of the United States, the weather. Weather is a physical condition. It's a fact. It's something we can track. It's something that we have. Okay, we've divided the country and the world into different climate zones. And if we take a look at it, we see the red represents the drier parts of the nation. Believe it or not, the blue, where we are, represents cooler and wetter. And when we say cooler and wetter, you want to make sure when they're saying climate trends, that means that the climate in this area is cooler and wetter than it has been previously. Not that this is a cool and wet part of the nation. I think anyone who lives in South Louisiana, the last words we would use to describe it would be cool. It's quite wet here, but the temperature is far from cool. Now, the second map is an excellent example of a human characteristic. But I want you guys to realize that both of these maps, take note of this, both of these maps are of the United States. But the first map measures physical characteristics. The second map measures the human characteristics, which are the fans, which measures the regions of the United States and which NFL team is supported in which particular region. In the South Louisiana, you have a lot of Saints fans. Now, actually, this map is a little bit off, I think, because Believe it or not, most of North Louisiana are Cowboys fans. So the Cowboys should probably take most of North Louisiana, and but the Gulf Coast region and South Louisiana are diehard Saints fans. But this is an example, right? Once again, let's go back to it. This map of the same place. And this is the cool thing about geography. We get to study physical features like temperature and weather, and we also get to study which types of football teams people like, or the particular dominant religion in the area, or the type of food that people like to eat. So remember, highlight the answers to your homework learning targets and answer the questions in bold lettering. Have a good day. See you in class tomorrow.